I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 at 5:30 PM. Janelle, can you please take roll call?
Rudolph,
Here.
Bell,
Here.
Gretzmacher,
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Kane,
Here.
Art,
Here.
and Onisar.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Bell. Second. Second by Champeau. All those in favor respond with an aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? I have one grammatical correction on page 5. Line 10, displayed in other communities should be an R. Does anybody else have any comments, corrections?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Motion by Bell, second by Champeau. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Carried. Comments, correspondence, and concerns from the public. Anybody who is zooming in with us tonight, please make sure that your microphone is muted unless you intend to speak. Is there anybody joining us that would like to address the Plan Commission? Sir, did you want to read your letter now?
Yeah. I'm gonna give you, I thought you were gonna have a microphone here, first of all, because my hearing's not the greatest and I can't hear all the people.
I can't hear what's going on either.
Pardon?
I can't hear what's going on either.
So we got two people. We used to have microphones at previous meetings I've been at. I'm just surprised you don't have it.
We don't have any microphones. We haven't had microphones, have we?
No.
Okay. All right.
Nope, we used to pass it around.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we'll
whatever.
listen to you. We'll try to speak louder.
Okay, thank you so much. You want me to go ahead?
Yep,
This is site plan review, and it's in regards to a sale of a property, which, was purchased by an Andrew and Tina Orsazaya. If I'm mispronouncing it, they're here, I'm sorry. But they purchased it, and supposedly it's gonna be an office, which I think Mr. owns Linkwood Realty, I'm not sure of that, but that's why I put it in here. And that'll be in the front office, according to what it said. And also pizza and deli in the rear, okay? On 10553 Country Walk Drive. And the former owner of that property, so somebody who's not familiar, it was known as Julie's Upscale Resale Shop. And she put it on the market with her husband and consequently has been sold. So I just told you about the new owners. So I talked to Mr. Andrew on the new owner on the telephone, and he told me the pizza would only be takeout without any inside seating. The customer would order pizza by phone or walk-in. And the pizza would be cooked and ready to go, no outside tables, no inside seating, no furniture outside, and no eating outside. The owner also told me that the pizza place would also sell beer and wine. That was not listed on the agenda.
If
It was
possible.
submitted. Pardon?
If possible.
If possible.
If possible.
Are you,
okay, you need to talk to us.
okay, I'm sorry.
So we'll have to speak falsely.
But at any rate,
Just so everybody understands, I'm his wife, we live directly behind that place. And Sharon Bennington is our neighbor, and she also lives right behind it.
so both of our properties are butted up against Mr. New Owner's property line also, okay? So let me go on. There was no outside light, even though there are 2 existing rear floodlights and 2 existing north floodlights. And the owner told me there's no lights back there, but there are now, but he had no intentions of installing. That's what he told me on the phone at least. One of our concerns is that pizza proprietor or property owner would have furniture outside, so customers waiting for their to-go pizza would sit and drink beer or wine outside if there was any kind of picnic tables or furniture. So that was one of the things I want to point out here. We are also concerned about outside speakers with music, the hours of operation that would increase traffic noise, and the odors coming from the pizza ovens and fans, which we like to open our bedroom window in summer, and our bedrooms in the back of the property, which you very easily be able to get these smells into your home and a nice summer night. Our backyard adjoins the new owner's property. We would like to have him install a large, tall, 8 foot or higher wood fence on his property for the privacy of the residential property owners in our subdivision. Now, I just might add, this is another thing I can bring up. The church next door, when we didn't know who was gonna buy it, the board at that time agreed to have the owner put up a large wood fence if it turned into a bar or restaurant because of a large parking lot. Well, that never happened, so that's fine. I'm just telling you what happened before with the property next door to this one. In addition, there is a very large tree, at least 40 inches in girth, with many holes made by woodpeckers, etc., on the new owner's property. It's very difficult to see all these holes in this very large tree, and it's very tall, unless you come onto my property, which I'd be more than happy to welcome anybody where they could see all these holes, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So we think this tree is dangerous and should be removed before it falls on someone or our wood garden barn and fire pit area where we have outdoor furniture and compost bins. My wife and I want to thank you for addressing these concerns. And again, I'm Fred Schilling and Sue Jacobs, my wife, who's sitting next to me, and we live on 10546 Cherrywood Court. So I'm just asking the board to take a look at this, and we have very serious concerns about the situation, especially the large tree and additional noise or a pizza smell or things of that nature. Now, there have been some people who have mentioned, well, do you ever get any smell from the Northern Grill? No, we do not. And first of all, the reason why we do not, you can ride around the back of Northern Grill, and you can see where their big stack and big fan is for their kitchen, which is below the top V of the front of the building. So winds never really get to that exhausting from their kitchen. And the other thing I want to point out, that the Northern Grill does not face any residential properties at all, none. So I'm laying out my concerns here, and I hope the board looks at it seriously, and because we're really concerned about it, okay? And it's our retirement home, and the entire subdivision is mostly retirees, and it's very, very quiet, very peaceful. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to comment on this too, if it's possible.
Yes, sir.
My name is Rick Ronvick, and I live at 10547 Cherrywood Court in Sister Bay, and it's a cul-de-sac street. I'm on the far side of what these properties are. So our front, my wife and I, our front of the house faces Sharon Bennington's and Fred Schilling and his wife Sue, faces their front yard, their front door. At the back of those properties, not far from the lot line, was what was mentioned already, Julie's Resale Shop, which is a relatively quiet place and presented no problems. Now, in that space, the new neighbors are going to be operating a pizza place. And that comes, of course, with all kinds of smells and lights and noise, and possibly serving wine and beer, which would be fitting for that place. So there's gonna be lots of laughter, chatter, a real happy hour, as it should be, I suppose, there. But maybe not so happy for those who have lost the quiet home that they always treasured and thought they were gonna live in for the rest of their lives. So I hope what happens is that the new neighbors will be cognizant of the enormous difference this will be for two households. And that they will agree to work with them to make adjustments that will not hurt their business, but might alleviate the problem somewhat. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have anybody zooming in, Janelle?
Would anyone like to speak? If you could, raise your hand, please. I don't see anybody.
Okay. All right, then we will move on. Item number 6A, sign review, Northern Door Children's Center capital campaign sign 10520 Judith Blazer Drive.
So this was introduced last month and we wanted some more information. We wanted a representative from the Child Care Center, so Bill Hollis is supposed to be here. And then, we also wanted to know which direction the sign would face and where it would be located. It would be, next to the existing sign facing the same direction. We also said in no case would we allow it to exceed 24 square feet. They said that was acceptable to them. So Mr. Hollis is here to answer any other questions that we have.
And I did, thank you for your time, everyone for the time. And I did bring some pictures of the existing
Please
sign.
pass them
That's
around.
helpful. I did it from two perspectives. This one is closer to Highway 57, and this one is kind of going straight on from the Judith, from the street in front of the pictures out there. So I think I'll just confuse everybody if I walk with it. The purpose of the sign is really just to be the finishing touch, hopefully, on the fundraising campaign that the Child Care Center, Northern Door Child Care Center has been in the middle of for about 18 months now. We're raising about 3.6 million to expand the facility through some very large donations and very many small donations. We're a little over 80% of the way there now. And all we're trying to do is raise a little bit of awareness, help us get the last 20% of the funds we need to complete phase 2 of the school's updating and improvements. So we would just foresee the sign being there for the season this year. It would be probably vinyl or some other heavy duty material. It's not a permanent sign. It would just be there for the summer season, whatever the board thinks appropriate, whenever you consider the end of the summer season. We thought 6 months would be plenty to have it up there, just to drive a little bit more interest and a little bit more awareness of trying to finish up the fundraising campaign for a facility that is pretty valuable, I think, to the residents of the county, an important service to the county. And that was basically, it was just to try to get something put up to kind of finish that last push to get the final funds. We do have the funds to begin. We have enough funds to begin. I think something like on the agenda after me, actually. So we will be starting construction in the fall. We would expect to be, hopefully starting construction in the fall, and would expect to take the sign down around then. So if there's any, that's about it. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer any I can.
You have anything you want to say?
Nope, just what was in the staff report. So the 24 square feet, like I said, was fine. The location was fine. We do know we need a code amendment to address these in the future. For now, we don't have. Also, we have to decide whether we're gonna allow it and how long.
Well, you said a vinyl sign,
We're open to whatever the board thinks is
might have a
appropriate.
problem with that even. It's temporary unless the plan commission thinks differently that a temporary sign, something of this nature for a capital campaign can be used out of other materials, because they'll be there for a shorter period of time and less expensive to make.
Normally, we require wooden.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we could get something like that made up, but I think we have a price out for our replacing our existing sign. I think that's $4,000 or $5,000 to make a wooden sign, so we were hoping we could get something, since it's only gonna be a short term. There obviously was secure and safe, it wasn't gonna blow into the highway or anything like that. And we also wanted something, we kind of wanted to show, you've probably seen these thermometer kind of things that United Way does. You know, we're 80%, we're 85, we're 90. We just wanted to like color it in and show, hopefully that we're getting closer to raising the fund. So we were just looking to do something safe and
But
cost.
you don't have a picture of what you wanted to.
No, because we weren't really sure what the,
Because that's, how do we approve a sign that we haven't seen the design of?
yeah, I guess we're sort of in a loop with, there isn't really any standard and we're not really sure what the, so if there's a number of colors, square foot, any kind of constraints you want to put on like that, we're happy to accept that and take that on board and make that work.
Denise, don't we do some sign review? I mean, I'd be comfortable deferring to you to review, so they don't have to come back here and do all that. How else feels about that?
Yeah, I mean, we'd be very happy, whatever standards you feel appropriate, we'd be happy to meet those. And work with, I guess, if we're working with Julie or whoever about what the specific design is.
Sure, whatever the committee decides, then you and I will go back and forth on an application.
Okay.
And then we actually have a policy where, I send the sign design over to the plan commission chair.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because we were planning on hiring some, a professional service to produce the sign, so I'm sure once we can give them some instruction, we'll be able to come up with something that'll work for you all.
As far as the vinyl goes, I just wonder, it's not the childcare center that would concern me, it's the precedent that's set. So if we have subsequent people come in here and want these vinyl signs, I go back to, it's not exact corollary, but the sandwich boards. We certainly had some challenges on there. I think that we should do everything we can to support indoor childcare, because it's really important. I'd be okay with the vinyl in this circumstance as long as it doesn't paint us into a corner in the future.
All right, and so I think if, if we would approve that, and when we make an amendment to the code, that would be the only time on a temporary basis for a nonprofit, that could be, that kind of material could be utilized.
This is perfect, makes
As
sense.
long as it wasn't reflective.
No, we wouldn't, no, we don't want any distractions on the highway. It's a daily.
If you're asking for 6 months, that basically brings us to the end of November. I think that's a little long.
Yeah,
I think 4 months might be
okay,
more appropriate. End of September.
Yeah, well, then even then, you're probably not gonna get it up till June realistically, even if
Yes.
I mean, the end of June.
yeah,
So, yeah, 4 months would seem realistic.
yeah, June, July, so that'd be, yeah, the end of September would be great, yeah.
You want to do 120 days? I think we
From tonight or from approval?
approval.
I mean, approval when Julie and I would sign off on it. Those are the options that we would have as a committee.
So 120 days after.
120 days makes sense.
Yeah, approval works, I don't know how long it's gonna take to get the sign, those kind of things, so that would be great for us.
Are we requiring a sign permit?
Yes,
And 24 square feet max
yes.
and vinyl or wood?
And so on these pictures, exactly, and when you fill out the sign permit, it will be, you will have to specifically state where it's going to be, but for all of us here tonight, where do you plan on
We were
placing
thinking,
it.
it would be immediately to the left or right of that sign.
Okay,
And we're sort of indifferent as to which side, probably the left-hand side would give better visibility on 57.
right, closer to the
So
road.
probably preference would be the left-hand side
Okay,
in close proximity.
okay.
The only thing we really have to worry about there is the right of way. Make sure.
Yes, yes. And.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Motion then?
It will be a two-sided sign.
So coming and going, everybody can see it, which makes sense.
So if we're inclined to approve it, the conditions or the stipulations I have would be that the sign must be removed within 120 days from approval. It is limited to 24 square feet. It shall be made of vinyl or wood. It does require a sign permit. It must be located out of the right of way. And a two-sided sign is acceptable.
Sounds great.
So moved.
Did you want to read us yours, Janelle?
It says basically just. what
Okay,
you said.
all right, perfect. Motion by Kane,
Second?
second by Shampo. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much on behalf of the school and the students and the teachers and everything else. Appreciate it.
6B, site plan review, Northern Door Children's Center addition, 10520 Judith Laser Drive.
Okay, so this, I think you've seen some initial plans on this quite a while ago, because this is actually phase 2 of what they want to do. And basically, there are 2 small additions off the back of the building towards the stormwater. This is the right way to explain that. So, stormwater was reviewed when phase 1 was done, so we don't have to look at stormwater for this phase. Open space exceeds what we allow. They have plenty of room. Setbacks, they meet all setbacks. Parking was the only thing I had a question on when I reviewed it, because when I talked to them, they're like, well, it's space in case we need to expand it, the toddler rooms. One is for storage and restrooms, which can trigger bathrooms. The other one is for additional toddler space when they need it. Toddlers don't drive cars, so we don't have that, and the parents would drop them off, so it really comes down to teachers. Is there enough? So I asked the child care center, where are you at as far as teachers and parking? And they said they felt they had more than enough room even if they added teachers. So
I had that underlined. It's nice that they think that they have
I-
enough room, but we need to verify that they have enough room.
yeah, and it's difficult because at the current time, it's toddlers, there's not people that would drive a car using that space, so. But that's so that's the one gray area we have in there. Architectural standards, it's compatible with the existing. You can see it's kind of, they're just extending the design. Lighting is compatible with the existing. Landscaping, along Highway 57, it's already landscaped. It could be continued along Cherry Road. I see I have a typo there, but ID desired, or if desired, landscaping could also be required along the west line. And then I did attach a photo so you could see where the landscaping is actually located. And a development agreement will be required for it. You have copies of the plans in your file or your folder.
So I agree with you. When this facility was built, there was no Cherrywood Lane there. And now there is, and I think it would be appropriate to plant some trees along the street there. I didn't have any concerns from anything else that I saw except actually doing a parking calculation. And I would need to know, how much staff is there on any given day, and if they would utilize these rooms. How much more staff? Is it just 1 or 2 teachers? But we have to do the parking calculation. I realize it looks like there's a lot out there. They probably do have enough, but we still have to do the calculation.
That lot is full. a lot of the times, so. We should figure out what's needed.
Are you okay with accepting what is in the file that was calculated so far? Or do you want us to start from scratch with the calculation?
Yes.
And then for the landscaping, along Cherrywood, do you want to see anything along the west lot line?
And can we guarantee them that we're not gonna put a trail there, so anything that they plant, they won't have to remove?
On that side, yes.
It's a small, I should probably just pull it up on the county's website. To see the outline, the adjacent property. What was the address again? 10520?
Mhm.
I typed in Cherrywood, no wonder nothing's coming up.
Is the architect or somebody from the Child Care Center here to talk about it?
They were supposed to be.
Cole is on, Zoom. Do you want me
Yeah,
to mute him?
yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
There it is.
Also not coming up under Judith Blazer as a country walk. No,
It's
it is
Judith Blazer, 10520 Judith Blazer.
The county's map, find it.
To the west, it's. To the west is Judith Blazer Drive, but then it's a path, like people use it to cross through to Cherrywood. It is one that, our outdoor recreation. Transportation Planning Committee had cited for future expansion, if we could ever extend Judith Blazer, it should go through that area.
I think it's the county's website or the internet connection or
It looks
something.
like your website's, yeah, something's wrong there.
Yeah.
So if you look on that little photo I do have in the file, you can see the path and where people are walking through. But eventually someday, the recommendation was that that road actually be extended, which means they have roads on 3 sides. And we typically do require landscaping on property lines and roads. They've
Yeah, I
been really
can't get
good
to
about
it, something's wrong.
Yeah, the GIS just went down. I was on there a minute ago and now it's not.
So you can't get to it either? Okay. I just wish we had a bigger map, because. So do you think that we should also ask Julie?
We have done, when I look through the file, we have required landscaping on all the work that they've done out there. They've been really good about getting it installed. The code does require it as well. So,
So is the this is the path you're referencing here,
correct,
but that's not on their property?
no, so you can see where the Judith Blazer, the right of way ends kind of at the
Right.
top. And then that's walked through there.
And whose property is that?
I don't know offhand. I'd have to look at the GIS.
I think it's yours. The village. If I recall from our phase one, we discussed a lot about the driveway access to the garage. We're talking about the same path.
That's the same, parcel with big pile of dirt, right? You know, Scott?
Yes.
I think so.
I can pull it up on Google Maps, though. So. They don't, there is not a lot of room, it looks like. To do some big tree planting, it will take up a bunch of, space, but there's kind of. The lower left-hand corner. It's kind of got a triangle, it does have some trees there, I think if we could concentrate. Something there, I would be satisfied with that. This is much greener than that picture, but kind of. In here, there's some trees there. I think if they added here, this is getting all a little. And then would infringe upon the play space and whatever. Yep, right in here. This line is. Yeah, look at the difference.
Oh,
Green versus gray.
Yeah, you look like you have landscaping on that.
Yeah. So there's some trees here already, but if they extend it up here, then you have this. Play area and then the buildings, so I think if they went, kind of up here. I'd be happy with that. And maybe something right down here in the corner. Because this is a pretty good clump, but
Right.
just to bring it back here and. then-
Okay, but landscaping along here.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
all right, and then, yeah.
So yeah, whatever that line is a good definition. So have you figured out, I also think, I'm sorry. No, this is a good clump, but I think something big could go right there and up to that point. Maybe 4 and then along here.
More along here.
Yep.
Okay. This we just have to watch out for vision clearance, but we can work with them on that.
Vision clearance.
In case this ever does become normal.
Okay.
Okay, so, what I have is, to proceed, we would need a landscaping plan that would show landscaping along Cherrywood. Partially along the west lot line up to what I'm gonna say is the triangle that appears on the air photo, but I can talk to the contractor about that. And to make sure there is a larger planting at the southwest corner of the property. But being mindful to keep it out of the vision clearance triangle in case the neighboring property ever does become a roadway. We'll also have to go through and calculate parking for the entire property, just to make sure there is enough parking in. If there's not, we'll just need to revise parking plan. Those were the two things that I had down. To proceed. And if we had those at the next meeting, I think we could review that along with the development agreement, as long as everything else is okay. So they can get going on it.
Sure. Okay, so you took our notes, you'll just talk to them, it'll come back next month for
Yep.
an actual vote. Okay. Excellent. Item 6C, site plan review, Andrew and Tina Torsivia office and Pizza Deli, 10553 Country Walk Drive.
Okay, so Andrew has, gone back to us with some of the information we wanted. He did come in with we want to know whether there is enough room for parking. And to do angled parking, even if he added on to the parking lot to do angled, there was not enough, but if he added on and did parallel, he can meet his parking requirements and actually have a couple to spare. So the parking, as long as he would follow the plan that is in the file, he would be able to meet code on that. So, like I said, it does require additional parking to do that. Lighting, Mr. Trisivio has last time, and again, he reiterated, it's just gonna be the lighting in the soffit. And he was not gonna use the other lighting that's on the property, but Andrew can address that if I've misinterpreted that, but that was my understanding.
You know, just to, you know, be mindful of neighbors and so forth, we figured that the back end of the lot with that glass garage door would emit enough lights out and back to be sufficient, you know, for the rear of the parking lot. The side, which I call the north end, would have soffit lights along there, and spectrum lights. And we've also got front lighting too, but that's just for the front.
So I know that you placed a berm in there. I'm not a big fan of berms. At one point in time, we made everybody put them in, but that was, 20, 30 years ago. I am concerned that there's, other than the berm, there was no additional plantings or no real landscaping plan. I don't know if any of the trees are truly on your property on the north end.
They're really big. I thought they were, but they're ironwood buildings pretty much. So they're all very mature trees. So I was kind of waiting to discuss with you guys if you wanted us to do something different on that side. Or if we just want to focus on maybe the south side, which is where like the broken thing, it's that side of the lot. But the whole rear is ours. The north, so the east is ours, the north is not ours, for landscape.
Yeah, so I would want to see some planted on the north on your property proper. Also, the whole south line, because there is just not very much there at all. And in light of, and I had this concern, when I was reading the packet, that I just didn't think that the berm was going to be enough to deter headlights as they're going around. And so I definitely would be much more in favor of a fence. Mr. Schilling stated an 8-foot fence. The village does not allow 8-foot fences, only 6 foot. So that would be a request, of mine, along with some additional, plantings of trees on that particular lot line. Inside of the fence.
Talking a stockade fence.
Pardon?
Are you talking a stockade fence?
What is that?
Or like a wood fence?
A wood? Well,
Yes,
they
so
could
nothing
pick
you
out,
can see through.
correct,
Okay. So
solid
And
fence.
what property line do you want that on?
West,
This one, no.
Okay, the west then, okay.
So,
Pardon?
you want it on east, or I'm sorry, you want it on west, north and south?
Where your property and Mr. Schilling's property meet.
There's pretty dense trees that are ours, they're ours. So there's heavy bush and trees, I'm okay with putting up a 6-foot fence, no problem, but adding additional trees to my property on that.
Okay, let me pull that up on,
there are a lot of trees you can see through in the winter, but you can't see.
And, yeah, during summer or spring, once the leaves come out, because it's very thick.
okay, good, that's good
Most
to
of them
know.
are
that.
on Sharon's property.
She's right next door to us, Sharon. And her property is largest adjacent to his new property.
What is the address here again?
1055, 10550 and 10456 for Cherry Court.
Andrews is
Yeah.
10553 Country Club.
Thank you.
I'll read what their code requires, on that, just so everybody, as a reminder, and then for anyone that doesn't know. It has to be screened from casual view by an earth berm, a stone wall, fence, evergreen planting of equivalent visual density, or other effective means approved by the plan commission. Such fence or berm and landscape together shall be an average of 3 feet in height between the parking and the street right of way, and 6 feet in height between the parking and any adjacent residential property line, which is what we're dealing with here. All screening materials shall be placed and maintained at a minimum height of 3 feet. Plan commission may require greater screening requirements for parking of large trucks, semi-trailers, and large equipment.
I'm sorry, can I just add one short sentence?
No, sir.
Pardon?
No.
I told you gotta speak loud to me, I didn't hear you at first.
Okay. I mean, where is, when you put in the hood system, where's the exhaust going?
Didn't know, so if you're familiar with Julius, the easiest way to, I guess, locate it. There's currently like a red awning that comes off the side of the building, on the north side. It would be just south of Valley, towards Mr. Schilling's property. So go back probably. It'd be but pretty much in the middle of the building.
A red awning. Google Maps is not showing a red awning.
Yeah,
The side door of Julie.
yeah, the side door, yeah. So just past the side door, Julius. Or in the middle of, side.
That's the north side, right? Facing the yoga place.
Yes, correct.
Is there, Andrew, could you come up here for a moment, please? Because there looks like that there's a very large vent currently coming out of,
There used to be a commercial washer dryer system there,
okay.
and we'll
Would you
probably.
be using the same
I don't
vent?
think that we can. So
Okay.
I'll take that, it'll literally be like 5 feet away from that. So where this is, it'll go 5 feet, that looks like,
That way?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
towards the back, okay.
most likely.
So it's flowing towards the yoga place?
It should be, right, that'd be the.
So. Trees planted north and south. remove the berm, install a fence. Unless anybody on this commission likes the berm and think that that's a better choice.
And the berm's not there, we're just saying, don't put a fence
Don't.
instead of the berm.
6-foot fence, was there additional trees on the west or just the 6 foot?
The shilling stated that, in the summer you can't see through it, so it sounds like it's dense already and.
I put up lattice to prevent lights from coming in to our backyard from Julie's. So I have a lattice section up in the woods. And, you know,
Okay.
you might wanna think. can I
Thank
say
you. And because a development agreement would be required, we're not, allowing outdoor music or speakers or
Right,
amplified.
he did not apply for that.
No, there won't.
Okay, and what were the hours of operation again, Andrew?
Currently, the current idea would be 10 to 10.
So. Obviously, things have to come back. Are we able to, or is it not wise to give preliminary approval because we don't have final plans? What would your suggestion be, Julie?
I think we should come back with the development agreement at the next step, rather than make him wait again.
Okay,
And what I have is, you know, of course, the site plan the parking plan that was approved. I have the fencing required per the parking plan. I have, no outdoor lighting except for soffit lighting.
and all that's already currently there.
No, it would need to be installed.
Some of it needs to be installed, okay.
I have, he needs landscaping that meets code along the north line and the south line. The west line requires a 6-foot high solid fence. Operating hours are restricted to 10 to 10. There's no outdoor seating and this is not authorized as an outdoor entertainment facility. Those were the stipulations that I noted that we would typically put on a development agreement.
Okay, so so you're saying that we can give this approval tonight with the development agreement next month with all the specifics and a new plan that shows the fence, the landscaping, et cetera?
Yes, what we typically would do would say, okay, we need this, and as long as Andrew comes back with that, then we're gonna approve the development agreement. Recommend approval of the development agreement that night, and then it goes to the board and the board adopts it. And then we can issue permits. So we can, as long as it sounds like the biggest thing is he pretty much has everything except for that landscaping plan that shows the landscaping on the north and the south, and then the 6-foot fence. And he did put the berm there because we did tell him to put the berm there on the plan, so just so everybody knows, that was our direction.
I don't want to wait another 2 months before we begin permits. There's no exterior construction to cement or literally. You have to build a couple walls, do a little bit of plumbing, electrical, and we're up and running. So it sounds really short, but we're also, depending on opening and having operation, summer, not towards sitting on that in September. So if you grant me the ability to come back with you by drawings, but give me approval tonight, I'd be gracious for you to do that.
I have a question. Where do people go in to enter the business and pick up their pizza or their packaged goods?
Right through the back doors.
Through the back.
We have the garage door will be open, or there's also a side door or an entrance as well, so just a single door or garage door.
So if the weather gets bad, you won't have necessarily the garage doors open and you will enter through the side door.
That's correct.
Andrew, have you given any thought to, the contractor to repair or add on to the parking? And the only reason I ask that Cause it takes so long to get contractors up here and that could be your holdup.
Yeah, our plan is to resurface the whole lot. You know, that's what we would like to do. There's obviously like about 6-7 month delay on that right now, so. That would push us into next year. So, but that would be definitely the plan, would be to resurface, push that parking out, push that lot up. So we could probably asphalt.
Okay, that becomes a problem for us, cause we do require everyone to have their parking lots in compliance before they can open their doors.
So I have to pave a brand new lot before I.
You have to at least put in the additional stalls, cause otherwise
that's
there's not
fine.
enough parking.
Yeah, we can do that, but I'm just saying we want to resurface the whole thing, but we can
Yeah.
extend.
Other questions? Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Kane,
Second.
second by Bell. All those in favor respond with an eye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So this is preliminary approval or approval?
It's,
Preliminary, cause he has to come back for the development.
in the new landscaping plan.
Okay.
Okay. All right, item 60, parking agreement and access plan, Historical Society and 1211-10339 Highway 57.
Okay, we do have, some representatives here, at least from the, Historic Society, in case we have questions. So we had previously approved a, site plan for the Historic Society. We also had approved some joint parking, towards time. And then we later found out that about an easement there, which required everything to shift, to the south a little bit. So now that everything is shifted, the plan had to change, so we are here to discuss and say whether or not we would approve that revised plan.
So who,
Craig is
are
here.
we approving it for the Historical Society? Or are we approving it for town?
Well,
What-
it's the because it is the Historic Society's property, it's for the development that you see on here on their property.
Okay. So Skylar, and I know on the old plan, the entrance to the parking lot that was from time, kind of meandered through the Historical Society's property and came out on Fieldcrest. So it could, it could be a shortcut, similar to how it's drawn now. But there's two acts, can you come up here and look?
Actually, I might have to defer to Craig on this one. There, another engineer in our office took most of the engineering plans for this.
Craig designed it, I think.
Okay,
Right, basically, it's not.
Can I have you come up here,
Yeah.
come up here to the front?
Your question is that.
Can I just show you something? Okay, on the computer. So is this connection truly necessary? And is it because then you can circle through the parking lot?
Correct. The entire parking lot would be used for larger functions. This area was really what they were talking about at the time.
Right.
But it really all serves Sister Bay Historical Society.
And so it's prudent that this is here, because I was just thinking on how much gravel or asphalt or whatever. But that's the smart way to build it.
It would be,
Okay,
right?
that's all I needed to hear.
Okay.
'Cause I'm not-
You're trying to eliminate gravel is what you're trying to do.
Or whatever the pavement might be, even in the future, but I figured that's why it just
In an event, you would want to be able to have flow in.
flow better.
different, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So as Julie stated in her report, that in this zoning district, it does not have to be asphalt. But on the 6 parking spaces, there used to be 20 on the old plan in front of the barn, and now there's 6 with 2 handicap spaces. I feel strongly that that needs to be asphalt moving forward for the Historical Society. Gravel is unstable to walk on. It is not as safe. I can understand maybe for the rest of the lot, but certainly for handicap parking and people who would, and maybe it becomes all handicap parking. I don't know if they only need two.
Would you want that done now?
I would want it done when they opened the barn,
When they open the barn?
yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if this is the plan that we're approving, I think we have to state we're okay gravel wise and what we're okay asphalt wise.
Is it possible to speak to that?
Yes,
So a lot of the discussion early on was just might be similar to what we did right on North County and maybe more closely to the ridges where you put there's a plastic mesh that you put gravel into. It's acceptable to the state for handicap accessibility because it stays very flat. If you've ever been to either of those places.
I have not.
It's gravel parking lot. The grid that's in there is a product that's used for parking lots. It stabilizes gravel. It's needs to be kind of brushed and, you have to update it on an annual basis, but for the most part, it doesn't have the problem that a gravel driveway where you just leave it, it's all rutted. This stays very stable. It's also strong enough, stable enough, that a handicapped person can use that. They were hoping to have an aesthetic that was less, parking lot officey and more
Rural country.
historic.
Craig, that's what we see as we go down the highway right by the ridges. It almost kind of looks like pavers.
Yeah, if you park in the parking lot at the ridges where you would go on the walk to the boardwalk and the building is right there. It looks like gravel until you get there and you look down and see the grid. Crushed granite is frequently used. It's a little more granular than pea gravel, which would go out of the way. So quarry wash is what you typically see. Quarry wash is that white granular stone. You can go to more of a granite, which can be a colored stone. That's what they did at both right on and at the ridges.
So that,
We did the right on. We were not involved with bridges, but I just know that's how they did it.
so Craig, that would be for the handicap accessibility parking lots. The other ones would still just be regular
The
gravel.
other one was just
I've been on those parking lots, like at Right On. They are very sound, stable.
It keeps them more.
How does a walker work?
On the walker, it's very stable, very flat.
See, rock just is not flat to me, so without having been to one of those places, it's,
But compacted, when you have a granular stone that's small and it's compacted, it doesn't move around like other gravel.
okay,
It stays, it's just short of like a concrete.
Okay.
It doesn't have cement in it, but it stays very stable. It's like decorative and stable.
Craig, the other question, so when we had previously approved the joint parking lot with Time, they had to put landscaping along there. Do you know if the Historic Society planned on extending that to this new expanded parking area, or whether they'd be opposed to that?
Well, we did show you a landscape plan for the parking lot down on the front, what we would call front on the upper lot. We've never discussed landscaping. There's a fair amount of trees along 57 in that parking area already.
Yeah, because when we had approved the original shared parking lot, the commission did require plantings along Highway 57, that side of it.
Okay, now technically there are, there's trees there, but I've not had any conversations with anyone about additional landscaping in that area.
I just know they had agreed to that before. I think Carl is here, you might remember that too.
Yeah, I think we remember agreeing with that.
There's not an objection to adding landscaping.
I mean, if you look either at I don't know if the county's website's working yet or not. I'm still just on Google Maps. And it certainly does show in some places, some trees, shrubbery, scruff. Difficult to tell.
There's a hill there, as you're standing, in that area, and you're starting to walk down the hill, there's a relatively, I would call it scrub, it's probably closer to scrub than trees, but it's a pretty good line right there. Additional decorative trees could be added.
The, this is an aspect for, maybe time, to address, and it would probably also be their expense. Is, I don't think the access point from the previous plan that was presented really changed from Times property onto the Historical Society's property. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. And so when you look at the new configuration of the driveway, you are steering everybody to go, and if they park closest to the highway, and now they're walking some 250 feet back to that access driveway, going into Times parking lot, walking back to get to the front of the building or whatever. And I was wondering if it made any sense that, wherever it would be most appropriate, if there was some kind of walkway from somewhere in the front of that parking lot that meets up with Times parking lot that was designated, you know, maybe with a little bit of a split rail fence or something like that.
There's actually there are a couple of trees that there's a mulch pathway, there's already kind of pathway in that area that would be more than easy to.
And I wouldn't I wouldn't ask for it to be paved or gravelled necessarily, maybe mulched.
Sure.
But just having an alternative, some people might just want to walk, the whole way on the gravel till they get to your asphalt driveway. Other people might want to take a shorter route,
Sure.
depending upon their ability or just their plain laziness. So I wondered how anybody might feel about that.
Yeah, we need to have that.
Because I think you might have cut through anyway, so then why not kind of predetermine it and make sure that it's safe if.
Yeah, people are just gonna walk right through it anyway, so if you have a path, you make it easier for them.
Now you're gonna have ruts everywhere, little dirt paths wherever they're going.
Well, but I think also parking butts up. I think you have straight parking along.
There's some parking, but we would end up losing. I mean, you wanna lose it, there's one spot that is parks in front of where you could walk around the car if it's right there.
Okay,
There's actually some mulch in between those trees. And that's where we originally thought that would be a good entrance if we ever had to share parking.
okay.
No, it wouldn't be a problem. They
Oh,
just
yeah,
have that.
I see it here on the map. Yep. Perfect spot. Okay.
So, are we okay with approving the revised site plan? As a gravel parking lot arrives, provided the area in front of the barn that is meant, the area in front of the barn have an ADA approved hard surface. Landscaping be provided along Highway 57, and there be a designated walkway between the two lots.
Make that motion.
Motion by Bell,
Second,
Second.
On this,
second by Shampoo. Further discussion. Yes, Mitch.
going down, because it does say driveway also. If you go down the driveway that they're showing on this new plan at Fieldcrest. What's gonna happen there? It's been underwater the last 2 days, and every time you get a halfway decent rain there, that old existing in and out on the north side, it becomes a retention area with the water. Are they gonna raise the driveway up?
No, very good question.
Are they gonna put a
So,
culvert?
when Stantec was looking at it, as we looked at doing the grading plan, reality is the water comes down from that upper area. And there's a natural swale that we're enhancing. It'll go under this gravel road. And we're digging out a retention area. So right now, it currently does exactly what you said,
Yes.
because it all flows there now. So it'll be expanded and it'll be a place that the water settles in. So in a rainfall like we just had, it fill up. And then it's gonna go.
I know it's hard to read on that screen, but the proposed grading plan that they
It
did
shows
give us,
that.
it does show the culvert under the driveway. It shows the 2 collection areas.
And what we'll be doing by crossing that road is what actually happens now is the grass that's sort of in front of their barn where they have events gets saturated. So by taking it around the other way, it takes that water away.
Good question.
Okay, so now where is the walkway from? Shall be created from where?
Between the 2 lots.
Between the two lots?
Kind of like in this area.
Okay.
And if you look at,
I know what you mean. I just needed a good
okay,
verbiage. That's fine. Okay.
oh, here it is. It kind of shows right here,
Okay.
like where Carl was talking about, there's already like a tree missing in that line that would be perfect. for
Okay.
walkway.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Right. Item 6E, driveway access aquatics facility, 1 lot south of 10470 Highway 57. We did approve this, but I think Rachel is nervous.
That's probably a good, that's probably a good way to describe it. I just need final confirmation from the planning commission, hopefully at this meeting, that addresses my existing site plan as is with my driveway location as proposed. And, you know, that will allow me to get my engineered stamped plans in with that proposal provided to you next month. Or as soon as we can get this, you know, the engineering completed. And I know that then we'll be moving into a development agreement, in which case, if there is a request from the planning commission to propose a future driveway location along a road, if a road were to be constructed on the north end of the lot, then I would then relocate my driveway. So I'm really just looking for hard concrete confirmation so I can move forward.
But we can make that confirmation again for you.
Oh.
So how, I mean, we did have a motion one other time. I mean, do we just say we reiterate the motion that we made at?
I think that we reaffirm our previous decision
Okay.
to allow access off Highway 57
As presented.
upon the condition that if there ever is a road and the driveway has to be relocated, if we relocate to the new road.
Okay, so can you say that again, Julie? I'm gonna type it real quick. Okay,
Because it was really good.
yeah.
The Plan Commission reaffirms their previous decision to allow the aquatics facility access off Highway 57. Provided if the village does install a new road on the north side of her property, her driveway be relocated to that new road.
Somebody care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Bell,
Second,
by Gretzmacher. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Like,
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Sleep well, Rachel. Yes, sir?
I'm here to talk about access to Scandia Village. I'm not privy to previous conversations you may have had, but it seems to me that we have only one access off of Canterbury now,
Okay, well, I'm sorry, sir, but that is not an agenda item.
but it does pertain to this particular property because I believe there's a way that we can get that access and help this property at the same time. That's all.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
The last time I was at Stony Ridge while it was being developed. And we wanted an access onto 57, and the state would not allow it on the curve of 57. So the water main that came from back where we are, where the Candy Village is, went right away under the highway and up into the, what is it, something Beth Road, where the new aplexes are in there.
Eva Holt?
Huh?
Ava Holt?
Yeah, and Ava Hope wanted to come out onto the highway, and they were not allowed because of the curve on the highway. Where are these people coming onto the highway that they don't have that same objection from the state?
So I can answer that. So Rachel did have engineer drawings submitted to the state, and the state was okay with her accessing in front of her property. However, they also said, you know, if the village is gonna put in a road, she's gotta move it, she's gotta put in turn lanes and all this other stuff. I don't know why they approved it, because I'm not an engineer, but I think it's maybe because it's headed the other direction and they felt it was safer and to the distance of other access points. But the Department of Transportation's engineer did approve her access point where she has it proposed.
Amazing, okay. My position was that it seemed like we could extend Orchard on the state right of way that it already exists up to her property, or at least past the property. And then pick up that road you're talking about, which would run on the north side up to, which would be Applewood extended.
Yes, that's what this map is from last month, and we did talk about that. And it had, some issues also. So we have been discussing a variety of different options for, another road to get back into that area and to Woodcrest.
Okay, thank you for the time.
We'll probably talk about that next month if you wanna join that conversation. We're waiting for some answers from the Department of Transportation before we can talk about the roads again.
Okay. 6F, building plan and site design review, parks maintenance facility 21-24 Autumn Court.
Okay, so our contract with our architect is coming to a close. We should have some final drawings by June 1st. I just wanted to share these with the committee, the commission, to see if there's any red flags, concerns they had before we wrapped this up. Skylar is here because Stantec did the civil site design, and it's not complete yet, but it's pretty much there. The one plan, so I had sent you some plans that I had the other day, they were updated. Actually today, Mike from McMahon sent me some updated plans.
Oh, that's what this is?
I have a full set here, but I thought you'd be more interested in the site, so I copied the one that had the landscaping on it, which is the one that I just handed out to you. Basically, what we do is we take the cold storage building and we relocate it. And then we put the new Parks building on the property. It runs east-west.
It is unfortunately a huge sea of asphalt. And we tried to minimize it as much as we could, but with large trucks and large trailers and turn radiuses, this is what was required, which none of us loved. I'm just telling you, but it's what's needed.
It's what's needed, but it does meet code, because you have to look at that whole parcel, everything north of bottom, so it does meet code, but it is a lot. It's like having a grocery store.
Yes, Skylar.
I have a small amount of good news on that Sea of Asphalt. I ran some turning radiuses and confirmed with Eric this morning when I met him that what you see on the plans right now has 100-foot distance from facade of building to edge of asphalt. That's large. Turning radius suggests that you could probably get away with 80 foot and still have plenty of room. And I talked about it and we ran some scenarios and he said, yeah, I think we can do that. So this may shrink a little bit, maybe 10%. Still gonna be a lot of asphalt.
Right. Hey, I'll
We're
take
making it.
whatever we can get. And it also looks like a black and white picture, but that's because the building is black and gray. Black metal roof, black, what's the stone on the bottom again?
It's,
The split face.
yeah, it's kind of like a fancy brick. Looks like it was chipped away. It has cedar shake mixed into the siding. The insulated panels. So, it does meet setbacks. I don't know what else to tell you from a site plan review aspect. Completely landscaped, stormwater is there, planned for, parking is adequate. Meets open space. You see the landscaping plan. I did send, the building plan, which you have, I know it's really hard to see. I do have some bigger ones here in case anybody does want to see it. So this is basically a byproduct of all the work that the Parks, Property and Streets Committee has done for the last, I think since February or March. They've been meeting with McMahon and came up with the final plan that you see here. Originally,
Amazing,
the-
amazing to work with, if I haven't said that before.
And so is Skylar. So,
Well, you
Um,
deal with Skylar more than I do, so.
so I will
I
say,
didn't mean to slight you, Skylar. I'm
But it's
sorry.
where I also think they're great to work with from a subcontractor standpoint. So
Okay.
good choice on that.
so I will say this, I don't think anybody's really crazy with the design that we have right now, but we have had to revise it over and over. Because this was an old fill site, these were old sewage lagoons that got filled in, that impacted some of where we put things. There's a force main that was discovered out there that we have to work around, which has impacted things. There's some, there's a blower building that has to come down. There was a lot of things that came into play with this project to get it the way that Skylar has it laid out right here. So. Are we okay with this or have any questions?
It's too big.
The east exterior elevation,
What page are you on?
page 47. I think that's the east, it's north above them.
On the plan, is it like A30? Oh, I see what you're saying.
A302.
A302? And what was the question name?
So that is the east. Oh, yeah.
That was a whole lot of wall. When we break it up though.
Are you talking about this?
Yeah. Well, let me make sure I'm. Yeah, and that's still a pretty good chunk of is there anything that can be done there?
That faces the back.
I understand, but it's
Okay.
still a big,
Oh, yes, because what you don't see, am I correct, Julie? Is when we move the building, we're going to build the concrete pad larger. Because on the back
That's
side,
correct.
that is where we plan on storing, the new bus that the village, is getting. And then there will be a roof.
Well, what
But-
he sees on the east side is, the reason why it is that way is, and this was good foresight on Denise's part. Denise she said, you know, if we ever need to add on to this building, it has to be designed so that we can easily add on. So the architect arranged so that any addition would be on that east end. And they arranged all the wiring, plumbing, et cetera, is all lined up, that if you ever do add on, you just stub it into it at that point. That's why the east wall is the way it looks right there.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the wrong building.
You are.
Oh, good God, what's
But
wrong
I
with me?
gotcha, but I know what he was talking, he's talking about this east exterior
Yeah, but I
elevation.
mean, there's gotta be something simple we could do that. I mean, I understand making it that big wall, but we could still break it up somehow. If it wasn't the village, I'd be asking for it too. And I mean,
And I think, you know, the thought was by putting that brick up there would help break it up, but I understand what you're saying.
if there's something we could go to that's just that whole part above the brick. There's just just a breakup and putting another. different color
Because
panels.
it faces our beautiful sewer and water plant.
It is still, yes, I still think it's a big wall, but
Well, I know that, because we had this problem on the wall with the doors. You can't put like. Because they are panels and the panels come in certain sizes, you can't just say, okay, we're gonna. Put something in here, because that panel is sized. I'm not an architect, so that's the easiest way I can explain it.
I
but-
guess I just ask if there's some sort
Yeah,
of trim we
we
can put
can-
in to
we
break it
can
up, but if not, I was surprised to see that.
You are right, and I'll ask. the
I think it is
architect.
because of the panels. Like Julie said, but we will. Do due diligence.
And if it costs much money, then I don't want to do it. Even though I'm not supposed to say to the planning commission.
You're talking about the east exterior elevation, right?
Yes, here.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
I wasn't on this committee at all. So this is what we really need for Sister Bay, this big of a maintenance building with all these garages and we have all these vehicles that we have to house in.
Yes.
Where do we house them now? In the current building, right?
In the current building, but there is also, what you don't have is the interior. And in the interior, there is workspace that's functional, places for, truly dedicated space for making the picnic tables, benches, painting 20-some foot street lights.
They do have all the equipment in there. They also have, it looks bigger because they're also putting a lot of stuff in storage. Such as golf carts who would go in there. Basically taking better care of the equipment, but yeah, it does look bigger, but I think there was only like one extra bay for growth. I mean, it really did accommodate everything we had. We actually do have a lot. It's just that we've piled it on top of each other, different places.
We don't have, it won't fit in there. With the equipment that we currently have and what we currently need to store.
The bus is here, but
It is? Where's that?
Arrived today.
it's sitting next to the funeral.
Oh.
It's an omen.
So yes, we went round and round and, one of my biggest concerns is that certainly I did not want to overbuild and push up the price, of the project. But we also needed flexibility because you don't want to do something and in 5 years go, we didn't think of that, and now it will cost you an absolute fortune to add on another bay or something of that. So there's a little bit, to grow in it, which all buildings should have that. And it's just gonna function better, and there's storage in there, and
There's a lot of thought into the future, like, there's a vestibule when you walk in, so if we ever get to the point where you have somebody handing out soccer balls, baseball equipment, whatever, or taking reservations, there's there's a space there for them, a space they can put the balls, it's a very.
and
it's
a reception desk. So we were thinking, you know, if we have a Rex director in the future, at some point in time, you know, when the sports complex comes into its own, and
There's a lot of things cut out of it. A lot cut off the wish list to keep it affordable.
doesn't look like it, but yeah, we did some voiding of items. So other than that, is there a nod from the plan commission, or do you want something specific, Julie?
I just want their, statement of non-objection to it, so we can move forward.
What do you want to do about Pete's concern? Are you gonna check?
Yeah, I'll check, yeah.
Okay, so you'll check with the architect?
Yep, I will check with Mike to see if he can add anything to break that up or have any idea.
I don't,
I mean, worst case scenario, we can put a sunburst on part of it, which is just outside of the panel.
Not to add any expense, but do you have enough 18-foot doors? You got all these 14-footers.
We did
I
go,
don't know equipment.
we did talk about that a lot. And we measured what we had, what we thought we might need in the future. You can probably address it better than I, Julie, in detail.
Yeah, I think Eric wanted more. He understands the growth potential. It started messing with the roof line because you have the office area, and then you have that work area, and then you have the doors. So that limited how many of the higher doors we could have without going through a major expense. So it was limited to what you see. And we felt because we're not doing the snow plowing, and I don't see us ever doing all the roads, I think, you know, we would probably always stick with the county on that. We felt that it addressed the needs of the future, but was also practical, and it saved a lot of money by the way it was designed.
How many did you count, Mitch? 18-foot, 2?
Just two.
And are they in the same bay, so it's a drive-through? Or were they separate? I can't
I
remember.
can't tell here.
Okay,
It looks like it's a drive-through.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I think the desire was for more of the tall ones, and the architect is like, do you really need them? Is there a different way of doing this? If you do need it, you don't drive through, instead you just come in both from each end, and that's where you park.
So do you want a motion then, Julie, or do you just want consensus? What do you?
I'll take a motion.
So is this motion okay? That the plan commission approves the architectural renderings and elevation drawings as well as a tentative site plan that were included in the digital packets for this meeting as presented on the condition that Schmelzer so check into breaking up the appearance of the east exterior elevation.
I would say yes, but change the word site plan to civil site design.
Okay, as well as the tentative. What is it? Civil site what?
Design.
Okay.
Anybody care to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bell,
Second.
second by Kane. All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Item 6G, building plan review, Chad Roffers Country Lane.
So we did see this last month. The builder, Forest Construction, had given us some plans. Mr. Rocker did show up, and he had some other plans showing what barn dominiums look like. And the plan commission did ask to postpone and get more information. I did check with the builder from Forest Construction, and he said, no, the plans that we have in the file that were submitted are exactly what they are building, so, I did double check everything else, you know, they meet the minimum square footage requirements for a living area. There was a concern about the wall of the building being so long, because it was 80 feet long. And they did put in that wood feature that you see on the building plan. Other concerns, they know it, the owner knows it can't be used for commercial storage, business activity is prohibited. It does take a development agreement, so a lot of these concerns will be covered in that development agreement.
I also have, set of plans to, what's the same step, but in color, in case you guys want to see the color like on there now.
Are you good, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, you can bring that up. Thank you.
Basically, it's the exact same set, it's just showing that it has the apartment colors here, and then clear blue garage doors on here.
That looks much better, so I'll just hold it up for you guys.
What did you say about the garage doors are made?
They're clear view. Okay. This could be all glass doors.
But like window pane clear view
Yes.
or like a,
Yep, it'll be all like a aluminum frame
okay.
and then a window pane in every single one of these. Like you see in a car lot.
Which is something we did express we liked at the last meeting. And Mr. Rockers, I prefer frost, that's right.
He has no neighbors that are
He
close.
will have them tinted. He's gonna have a,
Oh,
they don't come tinted this season, they have a window tinter come in and do it.
okay.
He don't want nobody seeing it either.
Well, kind of silly.
You guys can keep that set of plans if you need it.
Thank you.
If that doesn't match what we've got in our packet, though, concerns me a little bit, because this shows, solid doors. You look at page 55.
Right, we did that game after the last meeting because Chad had said you guys had expressed you wanted that.
I guess what I'm just saying, if we approve this, to make sure, I would want to approve that, not what I see in the packet.
Yeah, looking at this, the only difference is the overhead doors
Mhm.
are different. Everything else is the same.
Yeah, he got confused last time with that drawing he brought it. He just brought a picture of what he gave me. And
I'm sorry, can I have your name, please?
I'm Joel,
Joel, and what's your last name?
Gille.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, I have one question. I'm
Yes.
looking at this plan. The door that faces the road is still solid.
The overhead door,
Yeah,
it's going to be clear view. I don't know, maybe it was something that the.
was that an oversight? But I mean, is it safe to, like, if that's a condition that they all be,
Yeah, all doors will be clear view.
okay.
And I'm guessing maybe my draftman may have forgot to make that.
He
change
just
on
missed that one?
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I figured, so I don't know why else you'd want.
no, yeah.
Different doors.
Right, design, but when we want to see that like that.
Did you get that, Janelle, that if there is a motion that the A3 plan that was handed to the plan commission this evening is the plan that we would be approving, but on the, what elevation is that? The south elevation, the garage door is solid and not, what did you call it?
Clear view.
Clear view,
Okay.
and then that must change.
Okay.
And then we would have the development agreement come back next month
Yes.
with all the specifics. Any other discussion or questions? Do you have it written?
Mhm.
Okay, would you like to read it?
Okay, that the plan commission, now is this a tentative approval too?
No,
Okay.
this is an approval,
Okay.
right, Julie?
Yes, because we're gonna come back with the development agreement.
Okay,
that the plan commission approves the elevation drawing that was presented to them by Joe Villa of Forest Construction this evening, on the condition that the A3 plan must state that the solid garage door shall be clear view. Is that
On the
right?
south of elevation.
Okay. On the south, okay, on the south elevation.
Yeah, his last name, correct that too right away. It's Gill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. GIL, okay, and you're from Forest Construction, right?
Yep.
Okay,
So the interior stays the same that we've seen?
Yep, the interior is not gonna change.
I mean, that has been the only question that bothers me a little bit, is that the builder is putting up the shell and it's being finished by the owner, and I guess our Brett would take care of any deviation if something changes from the interior? Our building inspector?
Well, a couple things. So our development agreement is gonna go to Mr. Roffers, who's the owner. So he's gonna be responsible for what Joe does or everybody else does, and he's gonna be bound by the floor plan that we have. And then this plan here, and that's what Brett will too. And then we'll have the other conditions or restrictions on there to make sure that the square footage doesn't get reduced, to make sure there's no commercial activity, to make sure that this is what's actually built. So I think we'll be pretty well covered.
Okay.
You said square footage be reduced, you mean like change at all?
Yeah, like if we, because of there's so much toy storage in
Oh, I
there,
see what you're saying,
We wanna make it-
proportional, yes, okay.
we
follow.
wanna make sure it doesn't get reduced.
Somebody care to make that motion? Motion by Kane,
Second.
second by Bell. All those in favor respond with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Joe, just, can you send me the revised drawing showing that door fixed?
Well, yeah.
6H, STR exception, 5th bedroom Swanson, 2226 Scandia Road.
Okay, so at the last meeting, we heard a request from the Swansons where they built a home, they built it as a 5-bedroom. Our plans showed it as 4-bedroom, but it was for their purposes, they planned on it being a 5th bedroom. And we decided to postpone activity on that so I could get a couple of things answered. One was, would there be any utility fees that would apply here? Because it was built as a 5th bedroom when our plans thought it was only 4. And utility said no, that it would not be impacted like that, so that was not an issue. Then there was the question as to could Brett approve it? I did talk to Brett. Brett did say the plans were approved for a 4-bedroom home. He said if he went out there and as long as it had a door and it was had, the window and it was wired to the existing alarm system, he would be able to issue a permit. So from that perspective, it sounds like if he applied to convert that 4th bedroom to a 5th bedroom, Brett would have issued a permit for it, so it would have been okay. The other thing was, how many, I think the question came up, how many, short-term rentals were on Scandia? And I forgot to check that. Mr. Swanson has 2 on Scandia. I think they're both on Scandia, aren't they, Mark?
Yep.
There's a few others in that area. I think those are the only questions we have, but I can answer any other questions. Since, in the last month, we've issued a lot more short-term rentals, so we have more, if you have questions about how many 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, or, we can try and answer that.
So I think it was a couple of months ago, we had, Mrs. Wilson, was it, that came and talked to us from Fieldcrest?
Yeah, I think her name's Erin.
Okay. And basically stated, the same thing, that they didn't want to increase their occupancy. that they just wanted people to be able to spread out more and have more privacy. Same here, and I was thinking they're exactly the same. Wilson's asked for the same thing that Swanson's are asking for. We denied Wilson's. How, if we're supposed to be fair and equitable, how do we allow this? So I understand to a certain point, that Mr. Swanson states his justification for the 5th bedroom, about the best possible stay and privacy for the guests. For example, 2 families of 4, total 8 occupants with only 4 bedrooms would certainly force people to sleep in the same bedroom that would otherwise not. Kids with adults, brothers and sisters, etc. When I was growing up and there were no STRs, and if you didn't rent a cottage, you got a motel room and there were 2 beds and mom and dad slept in one and the kids slept in the other one, and there was no privacy, and that's just the way the world revolved. I realize we live in a different world now. But I could. I'm just gonna make a motion to deny, and then.
I second.
Second by Gretzmacher, and then we can have further discussion, because I think we need to be fair and equitable.
I understand everything you just said, but the one difference is the location. And maybe that's not something that we should judge on, but that absolutely is different to me, but not in that area that has just been overwhelmed.
Does our ordinance not state 4-bedroom units?
It does.
Okay,
And that they have the right to come here and plead a case, and we did do.
we denied the Wilsons, and it's almost identical. Wilson's home was very similar, new home, same scenario as far as letting them spread out. And the question is really just advertising. Because they don't want to advertise. They don't want more people. They want to be able to advertise that it's a 5-bedroom with the same limit.
Right. And there's no way we can police that until we get a compliance officer and something of that nature.
But I think with
Mark.
ordinance, read the way it's done.
Okay, whoever is whispering on Zoom, please mute yourselves. We can hear you. Oh, it's. Okay. Well, mute yourself, Marge. Okay, and so Mr. Swanson owns another one. I remember, I think I remember your wife coming to a meeting in the very, very beginning stages and stating that you built this house because you were going to retire here, but now you own a second one, and it's my understanding that you're considering buying a third one.
Yes, so we have 2 short-term rentals, and we have a third house. We love coming up here. We listed it for rent, and it rented out pretty much the entire summer. And we do carve out a week, but there's really like no openings in it. So obviously, we're not like actively seeking, to buy another property, but the one across the street did open up, so we ended up purchasing that a year or 2 later. The one thing I will say is I don't know what the previous person, if they had been licensed for 3 years prior, but I was licensed for 3 years under previous rules. And so the rules then changed. I understand rules change, and that's where I'm at, is like, if I would have known that there was gonna be a future ordinance change that said, oh, you're gonna go from, your max is 4 bedrooms, I would have built 4 larger bedrooms. Instead, I built 5 bedrooms because there was nothing to speak of the bedroom count.
Got it.
I agree with you, Denise, because we are getting a lot of requests for these extra bedrooms. We need to be fair. And we can't be changing the rules all the time. I know everything doesn't fit. One rule doesn't fit everybody, but in this case, clearly 4 bedrooms seems to be totally adequate for the size of this house. And for where it's located, in my opinion. And I just think that we're gonna run into some trouble if we let a 5th go here, and then what are we gonna do next time? And what we have done in the past as well.
Do you want to expand on your disagreeing with me, Nate?
I mean, I just, if. The one, like I said, the one thing that's different to me is the location. And that's pretty important on there. It's what it comes down to. The other portion of it is, was this remodeled? Was this changed? Was this building altered? And that would be a huge red flag, but I understand how the code is written. I don't agree with you, but I understand what you're saying. So I don't think I'm gonna convince you otherwise, because yeah. I just see it differently. Sometimes that's how it is.
And that's why we all have a vote.
Hmm.
And democracy still rules. There is some wood. Yeah. Okay, no more discussion. We'll take a vote and see how it falls. All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Aye.
Wait a minute.
No, I think you
Wait,
guys.
wait,
I think this is- I think you are. Yeah, I think you are.
No, my motion was to deny.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So Nate was the only opposed.
Yes. Okay.
I want to make sure.
Sorry, Mr. Swanson. 6I, STR exception, public right of way for second parking stall, Walter Narote, 2373 Parkview Drive. Did you want to go, Julie?
I was just gonna say, just a unique parking situation where he's in that B2 area where we have a lot of the older homes, not that this is a historic home, but the front of the garage basically butts up to the right of way, so there's no way he can meet the requirement for the 2 stalls. So he can do one in the garage and the other one would have to be in the right of way. I'm not sure if Mr. Narad is here.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. So. Interesting situation. And I think it's kind of common sense that we would allow this, but I would like to put a caveat on it. And that would be, Julie stated that she does not have a survey of the lot, so she is using, you know, a photograph of the GIS map from the county, and those lines are not perfect. So when I talked to Julie about it earlier today, I said I would like to have a survey. She said that doing, the Mill Road Triangle and upgrading the road there and Bluffside and everything else like that is in our capital improvement plan for the village. And we may start working on that next year. And so the village's engineer would be doing all of this work and determining where lines are. But in my mind, that's, if the village is going to do it, that's fine. But we don't have a guarantee that we are going to begin that work and expend that money next year. So I would like to state and request that approving this would be for a 1-year approval. And if the village does not survey this area, that you would have to supply us so we know exactly where the lines are, what falls in the right of way, what is on the property. And it's
What would
not.
happen to him if he didn't rent it out and he wanted to live there?
he would be grandfathered and could utilize it. It still would become probably a problem no matter what.
Yeah.
If the village were, to widen that road, and it does need to be widened. I don't think it's gonna ever be as wide as what we would like, but it certainly needs to be wider than what it is by a little bit to be safer. So I'm okay with granting it for a year with the survey to be in next year's application.
So what you're saying, you're gonna grant him to use
The driveway that's in the right of way,
the driveway that's in the right of way.
yes.
Be one stall.
Right, they park in the garage and one stall outside, because it would be exactly the same that if you had a family living there, you know, one car in the garage, one in the drive. Pardon?
It's kind of screwed it either way.
Yeah, it's
right
not,
now.
a good situation.
Is there other homes or STRs in that triangle that also have
I think
that
they're
problem?
almost all
Like
STRs
the
down
one
there.
right behind Husby's, I think that's a rental, isn't it? And their driveway's about that.
Yeah,
So there are other STRs in that area. Yes, the one behind Husby's, he's approved to have one in the garage and he can fit one in the driveway and that's it. Before he runs into right-of-way issues. I looked at not just STRs, but I looked at all the properties out there to see who else has this situation where the right-of-way line is right at their front door. This was the only one that I noticed. I mean, I didn't look through the whole village, but in that immediate area, I zoomed out and I'm like, 'cause I thought it'd be pretty typical, but it's not. It's just so this one property, so it is a pretty unique situation. Denise, can I help you with that motion basically would be that it would be approved, with the condition, it's a 1-year approval to allow a survey to be completed by Mr. Narot to determine the severity of the infringement on the public right of way.
But you said,
And if provided, however, if the village does a survey, within that time period, we will use that survey and not require Mr. Narot to provide the survey.
yes. So you may want to get in touch with the village immediately next January to find out if we are moving forward with this engineering project. And if not, then you would have time to schedule a surveyor to come out and because nobody has one, there's nothing in a file anywhere.
Not in his file and the road, you know, there's been no road work on the road out in that area, so there's no, the engineer didn't have a reason to go that far down the road. They just went to, I think Kim's house is probably the last one that they showed on that survey.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm also wondering how long has it been like that, so I've been in touch with, actually contacted the Historical Society, see if they have records, but I've been in touch with in Sturgeon Bay, just to see how long is that, that house is from 1950, I think it's always been that. I think.
oh yeah, I'm sure it's always been that way since the day it was built,
Right, so, yeah, you're right,
when not everybody wanted to come to Sister Bay. We were a little quieter.
Yeah, I think back in the day too, they put the asphalts, you know, and they didn't really care. They didn't think about the right of ways back then. They just put the asphalt where on the path. And that became the road. But clearly in your situation, you got a mess on there.
So now do you want to read that?
Sure.
I have
Just
a
about
question.
them.
Sure.
If we grant him 1 year and nothing's done, can we grant him another year?
Well, we need a survey. And
Okay,
I just want to, and sure, we can continue to approve him, but I think it would be wise that we actually have a survey to know exactly where
okay.
everything is.
So, about, okay, that the exception that was requested by Walter Narod for permission to utilize public right of way for a second parking stall at his short-term rental is approved on the condition that if village officials inform him that they do not intend to see that a survey is done to determine the severity of the infringement on the public right of way in the area where his home is located within 1 year, he must see that such a survey is obtained and provided to the village administrator. Is that okay? Sounds good.
Sure. Anybody care to make that motion?
Make the motion.
Motion by Bell,
Second.
second by Harp. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 6J, STR exception, 2 unpermitted bedrooms, Devlin Rainey, Kyler. Okay, did I pronounce your last name right?
Tyler?
2241 Sunset Drive.
So Mr. Kyler purchased this property, and inherited a lot of problems. He had an issue with the driveway, he cut that back when we contacted him. The previous owner built a deck without a permit, he went and got the permit for the deck. The previous owner did some remodeling in the basement that resulted in some bedrooms. They didn't have permits, so he reached out to the building inspector to try and get that approved. He even came forward and he went to the assessor and said, hey, you're assessing me for 3 bedrooms, there's actually more. So he's been very forthcoming, or whatever the number of bedrooms was on this one. He's been very forthcoming. When Brett looked at it, he said, yeah, it makes sense, it was a large area down there that could easily be broken or divided into rooms. Mr. Coiler did say that it was that way when he purchased it, so he does rent it as a short-term rental, and he wants permission to be able to use those 2 unpermitted bedrooms. We of course would require him to get a zoning permit to make sure that they become permitted.
For a max of 4 bedrooms, right?
Max 4, yeah.
So moved.
Second?
Second by Shampoo. Discussion? Questions? All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. It's Jack and Pat Martin's old house. Do you know them? Okay. 6K STR exception, unpermitted 3rd bedroom, Kevin and Janet George, 10616 Westwood Drive. Are you with us? Hello? Okay.
Okay, so this is one where, the home has 3 bedrooms, basement bedroom with queen size bed. We do have recent plans on this one, and the plans show it as a 2-bedroom. The basement has a bedroom. It makes sense the basement has a bedroom. The assessor has been assessing it as a 3-bedroom home. Again, when you look at it, you can see there's an access window, though, when you look at the photos, it was built that way. Looks like it was always a bedroom. So this would be to approve that 3rd bedroom. The one thing I do want to note is in the rec area and in the loft area, he does provide some extra sleeping areas. I did contact him and said, he can't be doing that, so they understand that, and there's no other issues with it. At one time, he was being very forthcoming, saying, I think I have a driveway issue, and I went out there, you don't have a driveway issue, so, other than that, I have nothing to add.
I just had a question about the loft and futon. The futons are really more of a seating arrangement for us, but the loft, what is the issue with the loft? They don't understand that.
So the code says it has to be a bedroom, so it has to be, because otherwise people were packing them in, they're putting a futon in the corner of the living room, they're putting them in there, they're putting them in rec rooms and loft areas, etc. So the code was very specific that they had to be bedrooms. So, and that'd be per the state code, so you're looking at, there's a door on there, there's an escape window. And then the other part of it would be, you can only have a maximum of 3 in that bedroom. So. Max, yeah, and then a max of 4 bedrooms, so.
I guess our loft is 13 by 22, so it's a huge room. So it's not a size issue, it's 8 foot ceilings, it's a size of the bedroom. I don't know what would be there if there was no sleeping area, because we have a family room on the first floor and the basement as well. And the other part of that is that for our family, we bought this as a vacation home that we use for our family. And we need every one of those sleeping areas for our kids and grandkids. And so there's that part of it too, so. I guess, I don't know how would I rectify this loft space to make it better, put a wall across, would it work? Or is that something that could be
Well, you have,
permitted? That's been that way for 20 years.
you have. Basically 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, right?
3 bedrooms.
And then you also have a rec room that has some beds set up in it, right?
It has a hoot, and we rent, we max our rentals at 9 people. And in the loft, there's 2 single beds and a futon. So that would be the 9 people. Using your loft and your bed. The one in the basement, it is a futon, but it's, it's a recreation of a TV and a card table.
Well, the only reason why we know the fact that it's futon is I think you. Let me just pull your file, or I think you note it as a sleeping area, don't you?
I'd probably go with futon there, but it's.
And. Yeah, so one of the issues we had. Yeah, one of the issues we had, like I said, was last year or the previous years, we found people were just packing them in and where they can. There's so many people in the, and so it was last June, the board said, that's it, it's a bedroom. And it's a legally permitted bedroom. To make sure people did go through proper approvals.
Well, I understand that back, but again, that space is 13 by 22, there's plenty of room for beds. Even more beds there,
But it's not a bedroom.
I guess. Back.
There is not a closet, it is open to the rest of the home. I mean, I have no problem approving the 3 bedrooms, the 3rd bedroom. But I can't approve an open air loft with.
If it says it should be a bedroom, it should be a bedroom.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to, in the future, do some remodeling and build a wall and put a door in and.
Is there a possibility, and if that's the case, to have kind of a 1-year provision or some time frame for us to get that done? Because then we probably will have to cancel all of the reservations we have this summer.
Question here. So there's 3, but if we permitted there should be 3 bedrooms, you have a maximum occupancy of 9.
Yes.
How is this actually an issue then? If you have 3 bedrooms, you can have 3 people per bedroom.
Do you
You
want
just
to
can't-
advertise it as 4 bedrooms or as 3 bedrooms?
We advertise it as 3 bedrooms, but sleeps 9 people.
Then I don't
That's
see
not-
that as.
I don't.
Legally, you don't want him to advertise the loft as a bedroom, correct?
Yeah.
But he's only advertising a 3-bedroom home if we approve the other bedroom that is a legal bedroom. So he's gonna advertise 3 bedrooms, according to our ordinance. They can sleep 3 people per bedroom, so that would be 9. So you'd still have that bonus space. When they get there, they can be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, how is that an issue for us then? If he's,
I mean, he can still have the loft. It's not like we're saying you can't have the loft. You just can't advertise that as a bedroom, correct?
As sleeping space, yeah.
Yes.
And and that has never happened.
that he's advertised it for sleeping? He's saying he does. He's saying he does, you have reservations for 9?
I would have to check with, the management company, who I don't know where all the reservations are, I know calendar's full. And so I don't know how many we would have to
So,
cancel.
but your management company only allows 9 people
Right,
in the house.
yeah, it's maximum occupancy, not
Who is your management company, if I may ask?
one place.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to cancel anything, because if it's being advertised as 9 and people are reserving 9. And if you're 3-bedroom and we allow max capacity of 3 per bedroom, you can still get 9 in those 3 bedrooms. So that, you shouldn't have to cancel anything on that.
You just can't advertise 4 bedrooms.
Or allow sleeping in the loft and areas, the loft and then the rec room. And we see that a lot where people they want certain areas approved like that, but they're not built as bedrooms. And that was one of the concerns we had.
Yeah, I guess my question is, so. Would I have to move these twin beds that are on the lot?
Yes, you cannot have any beds or sleeping provision areas for sleeping in the loft.
And then I put them into a tighter space.
The description on page 88 talks about a 3-bedroom with a loft. This home will sleep up to 8 adults and 2 children comfortably. That's 8 and 2 is 10. So now we go down here further and it says maximum occupancy 9. Well, you just said 10. Then on the bottom, it says there's 4 bedrooms. So the advertisement through Lundquist has some issues.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now as I'm reading it again.
So I will make a motion, we approve, the 3rd bedroom.
Second.
Motion by Berto, second by Bell. Other discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
For clarity, do you want to mention that that permission is not granted for the loft?
Because my motion was only the 3rd
Yeah,
bedroom.
I don't think we have to, because the code is pretty clear on that, and if there's a question, we can come back.
And I guess working out details and moving forward and talking to your management company with the errors.
Yeah.
You can be in touch with Julie in the future, I guess, if you need to be.
Is there any timeline on that I could get a wall built for that room, or do I have to go through a permit process, or how is that?
You can talk to me tomorrow, but basically we issue the license for 3 bedrooms. We have stipulations. And if you want to come in after that at some time and get a permit for the other one and amend the license, we can do that.
And who seconded that, please? You did, okay.
Okay, 6. What are we? What is that?
I think
FPR exception unpermitted 3rd bedroom best weekend LLC 10891 North Spring. Do we have an owner or a rep here from that property? Is there anybody on Zoom that's?
Is anybody here for agenda item number L? Nobody's raising their hand.
So just real quick, this is a shows the home was built around 1975 as a 2-bedroom home. It's now a 3-bedroom home. I did have Janelle get the assessment records. It's being assessed as a 2-bedroom home. They have I believe, what does the file show? 7-foot by 15-foot area that they are renting as a bedroom. They would like permission to use that as a bedroom, 7 by 15.
So I'd like to take you on a little visual journey here. So if on page 93, the hand-drawn layout, if you look at that very carefully, and in front of bedroom 2, you have double windows, and then there's kind of that little anchor looking thing that shows the front door to the right of it, then a window, then a double window. And then if you scroll down to page 95, that does not match the picture of the actual home. So I questioned a 7-foot by 15-foot bedroom, which is obviously not drawn to scale. The plan is obviously missing something because the plan doesn't match the exterior of the home. So I would make a motion to postpone until we get further documentation on this to figure it out. Motion by Berto, second by Bell. Questions? All those in favor respond with, Mitch, did you have one? Okay, all those in favor respond with an aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. 6M, STR exception, unpermitted 4th bedroom, Paul Hintermeyer, 10890 Trillium Lane. Is Paul with us? Okay,
I printed bigger
Okay.
pictures. I didn't know what was appropriate.
Okay.
If I can pass these around now.
sure.
So in this particular case, what we have is in 1990, it was built as a 3-bedroom home and it had a 9 by 9 by 12-foot library. And that library has been converted to a bedroom or being used for sleeping quarter purposes. And the assessment record on that one still shows it as a 3-bedroom home.
So there is obviously it was a library because there are no doors on this bedroom.
There's no closet either.
There's no closet.
And according to state regulations, a bedroom has to have a closet.
And a window.
It has a window.
So the one exit goes down a hallway and the other one goes into the living room. Is that what it is? Yeah.
So by definition, it's not a bedroom.
Correct.
No.
It's not a bedroom. If Mr. Hintermeyer wants to put doors on it and put a closet in, he could come back. And, yes,
Where I don't find any regulation that I have to have a closet to be a bedroom. There's no such thing in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay, it says in the state of Wisconsin, you have to have either a closet or a wardrobe with shelves and hangers, rods to hang clothing.
What's it? You said it says, what's it?
The state of Wisconsin DHS 83.54, number 1D.
Because I couldn't find anything that,
Okay,
under any international business. building
well,
that you have to have
and
a
I
closet.
think in different areas, in different states, things are a little bit different. So I looked it up under the state of Wisconsin. And I used to be a mortgage underwriter. So when we would underwrite a loan, if a room like you're talking did not have a closet, we couldn't count it as a bedroom.
When you're talking about there's no doors. There's doors on both doors. Two doors on this bedroom.
doorways or doors?
What?
Doorways or doors?
Doors.
Because we cannot see them in the photos.
Well, it's a pocket door. There's 2 pocket doors.
Okay. But there is no closet. What was that, just for my notes, Laurel, what was state statute, was that?
DHS 83.54, number 1D. And it's legis, Legis.
No, I'll find, yeah, I have that, yeah.
Can you say it for me, please?
It's DOCS
Yeah, I got the.
dot LEGIS dot Wisconsin dot gov. And it's under DHS 83.54, number 1D.
Okay, so we have proof that there are pocket doors. At least on one of the doors, if Mr. Hintermeyer says that they're on both, we will believe him.
That's just 3.
I guess that's a question that we also need to ask our assessor. In the future, of how the assessor can deem it a bedroom when it doesn't have a closet and was not originally built as a bedroom.
Well, he's not.
Oh,
You know, the assessor is deeming it as a 3-bedroom, so they're not counting the library.
oh, this is the fourth?
Yeah.
That's the 4th.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Yep. Yeah, the assessor's assessing it as a 3-bedroom. This is the 4th. It's 9 by 9 by 12 with no closet.
okay. I will make a motion to deny Mr. Hintermeyer's request at this time.
Second.
Motion by Berto, second by Gretzmacher. Any further discussion?
Can I just share?
Yes, sir.
So there's a bookshelf there could easily be converted into a fob. So I guess I'm kind of like a couple others. If I do that, can I get a variance to do that? And because we're probably-
There is no variance on a permit, but if you do that and you bring it back to Julie with photos and whatever, and
Do you have a definition of size that I have to meet?
I would say what the state references. I mean,
Now I'm gonna look that up.
I would contact an architect or an engineer who knows the state law, and they would make sure it meets code.
all those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 6N, draft historic overlay B2 zoning district.
So we discussed this at the last meeting. I just did make one line, add one line to make it very clear, this was the B2 area west of the highway. I'll be honest with you, and I did share this with Denise. With Tasha leaving, I don't have the time to work on this. And to do it right, I think we should have a moratorium so we can do this correctly and not rush through it. I don't feel quick doing an amendment to get something on the books is right. I feel we need to take our time, make sure it's done correctly. And right now I just don't have the time, so we need a little time to get that done.
So I would make a motion that we recommend to the village board that the historic district B2 overlay west of the highway.
Well, we do need a public hearing on that. I think we should have a
Oh,
special,
that's what I meant, not board.
yeah, I think we should have a
Public hearing.
special public hearing.
I was looking at the dates though, Julie, and it doesn't, the calendar does not work out because I wrote it down.
Or as soon as possible. I think we should do that.
Because June 3rd would be the earliest that we could have it, and we have a Parks meeting.
Yeah.
And then I think on June 4th, which is Tuesday, that's just 14 days from the board.
And it has to have a class 2 notice in the paper.
Right.
So, I think we should just put it as soon as possible and just work on the date after that. The issue we were having, which I was telling Denise, is you can't, when it goes to the board, there has to be 14 days between the public hearing and then the board's meeting. So you have to, because the public has a right to 2 weeks to review any ordinance before it goes to the board. And at the next meeting, by the time, there wouldn't be 14 days between our next meeting and the board meeting. So is there a way to push
We
up?
were
our
trying to
meeting?
shorten the time. There would be 14 days because it's a whole month after we would meet.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to shorten that time frame up, but,
We'll just, let's just say as soon as possible. So,
Is somebody in a hurry for this?
well, no, but we don't wanna drag, we don't really like moratoriums, we don't like dragging it out, cause people could argue you're trying to prevent development or something like that. So you try to move it up as fast as you can and get it going. But the reality is, at this time, between between Tasha leaving, the short-term rental files that are still left to process, everything else, we just can't do it right now. So let's just freeze, get the moratorium in place, gives us time to get it adopted, do it correctly and adopt it.
and we did that recently with the telecommunications ordinance. I think we had I don't know, 6 month, 4
It
months,
was 6 months.
6 month, whatever it is, and it gives you a breather. Obviously, staff can't get it done. We think that this is an important part of Sister Bay and want it to be incorporated into the zoning code, and we want to do it right and give it due diligence. So I'll make a motion that we schedule a public hearing as soon as
Practical for.
Practical.
moratorium.
for moratorium.
I second the motion.
Motion by Berto, second by Shampo. All those in favor, respond with an aye.
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 And it's a moratorium on new buildings in the B2 zoning district, in the area west and north. Bayshore
No,
Drive.
it's a more, it's a moratorium on
permits.
accepting applications
Okay,
for development in the B2 overlay district, proposed B2 overlay district.
accepting applications for development in the B2 zoning district. In the area
Do you
west
want to
and north
write
Bayshore Drive.
development? Or is it just applications?
I think
Accepting
it should be regular
applications.
zoning permit applications.
Yeah, accepting applications for regular zoning permits, okay. In the B2 zoning district, in the area west of North Bayshore Drive.
And I think, no, okay, if you wanna go there, I think it should also be, I think we're getting too complicated. I think it's just accept applications, okay? Because there's conditional use permit applications, there's site plan review. We're just getting in the weeds, so I think it should just say applications.
So on imposing a moratorium on acceptance of applications in the B2 zoning district in the area west of North Bayshore Drive.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, 6O, request to limit building height in the downtown business district. Also, a moratorium. I mean, obviously, the two go hand in hand through our discussions, so we will be discussing both of them at the same time as we do this, but it makes sense to have a separate moratorium or moratorium.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
That was something that I asked, we just have a discussion on, because of what's going down there behind the yacht club right now. It's just criminal what's happening to that block. And I think we need to stop it before it just totally takes over everything down there. And I'm not just talking the little triangle that we wanna do. I think all of that area down there we should restrict the height. And I know we haven't in the past because we've got some 3 and 4-story things. It's just destroying the way the village, what attracted everybody. And now it's all about who can put the biggest thing up. And they come up from other cities, they build these big, huge things and they leave. And then we all get to look at them. And I just think it's a crime what's going on down in that area in particular.
In the B3. The downtown area, right,
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
So, again, though, like Denise was saying, I can't work on this right
And
now.
I understand that. I just, if you could just, if we can have a discussion about it, if we can put a hold on anybody, I don't know what is coming up. I don't know what somebody's gonna see as a gold mine and buy some little house and put up a 3 or 4-story condo. But if you can just restrict those applications for a period of time until we can discuss it.
Well, that's what the moratorium does. It allows us to discuss it and have conversations. You know, I want this in there. No, I don't think
Yes,
this would work.
But the moratorium you just did, is that only on the triangle?
So the B2 one is just on the B2 zone, which is that area west of the highway, which people refer to as the triangle, pretty much. The B3, which is the one you asked about, is the downtown area. So that's that strip along.
The strip and to the water.
Denise, is there some
You know what I
restriction
mean?
already for some of that on the water side? There is not. There's some height restrictions out there, but. So. I'm just gonna show you this map. The B3 is kind of like a light orange. And so this would be the B2. This is. This is. That's all.
So, but if putting the B3. Sorry, I didn't see the small 3 next to the B under regarding. I thought it was also for B2, so my error.
Well, you can,
By putting a moratorium, that means no permits coming forward for downtown again?
unless you are very specific, maybe it's no. Conditional use permit applications, no site plan review applications, no regular zoning. I mean, you could allow sign applications. Short-term rental applications, I think. You'd be very specific. And it's to allow, and it's not to say they can't apply, it's to say they can't apply during that period because the rules might be changing.
Well, I know the other day you said that we had to approve the one behind the Goki, because it was okay for him to apply at that time of when he applied, that ordinance was in effect. So basically, if he tried to do it now,
It would not be allowed.
No.
okay.
No, this is papers.
Well, there's no, hotels, motels, condominium, hotel motel allowed in that district anymore.
And they did a moratorium to give them time to figure those rules out. If I remember right correctly, you guys had a moratorium?
Could be.
Yeah.
Just going down there and seeing what they've done to that bluff just seems criminal.
So that's in a B2 zone.
Well, I mean, it's already done, so there's nothing,
Yeah.
but And I don't know what else might go down there, who might be able to sell. I don't know. That white condo right next to Kim's place. It just is like a sore thumb in the middle of all these little old homes and old cottages.
So those properties would be covered under that B3 or the B2 overlay.
Okay, so say the post office decided they were gonna move. We, as a village, do not own that property, correct?
Yes, we do.
We do?
Yeah.
Are they leasing that
Yeah.
building? Or that property? Okay,
But a downtown business,
but it's a
grass seeds grow.
yes, so I'm just concerned that somebody else is gonna come in there and decide it's a great view to the water, and we're gonna put up a 3-story condo.
They currently can't do that. Because residential housing is not allowed.
In that district. Hotel, okay, they could do a hotel,
They could do a hotel.
but same thing, you want to, it's the
Yeah.
height that you're concerned.
Yeah.
with. Okay, so the moratorium would give us time, the problem is, what do we want the moratorium on?
Fight. I'm just obsessed with how big these buildings are right down on the main drag. If they were a block off the other direction, I wouldn't care. But right down there, and then I keep thinking, if Chris ever did put the buildings that he said he was gonna, the shops in front of the Door Hotel, wouldn't that be pretty?
So maybe, going back a little bit here, maybe the moratorium is on any application that would require site plan or architectural review.
Mr. Bopey doesn't come in with a great idea.
By the plan commission, right?
Yes.
Say that again.
So the moratorium would be on, applications requiring site plan or architectural review before the plan commission. So basically, that would, you'd still be able to.
So it could be, it would cover remodeling, extension. Or addition.
No, well, it depends if it's, is a change of use, right?
What if somebody wanted to put on an addition? Does that wording cover it? Cause addition could be, you know, ground floor and up, or just going higher up. So
What
the
if-
footprint could become bigger or stay
Yeah.
the same.
Well, I think we'd look at architectural review on, let me,
That would require architectural review, wouldn't it?
yeah, I think it has something.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Does your wording cover that
Yeah, let's see here.
for something that's already existing?
Let me just see here. There's a little odd place in here which talks about why.
You said they couldn't build residential down there, but they could put a hotel. Or what is that?
A hotel now
Condos.
requires 10. No, there are no hotels in the B2 allowed. We took that out because the lots were too small,
It's
Okay.
Maple and Parkland by the beach.
so no hotel would
Okay.
be allowed there.
I'm talking about like on the main drag.
Oh, on the main
Downtown.
drag.
So no residential, but if they put up a condo that was all rentals, short-term rentals, would that?
It would have to be it would. We allow short-term rentals in the B3 because that is where. No, we took that out also, didn't we?
Think so.
Yeah. Because after we saw,
Mhm.
what was that to know?
You decided you didn't want to allow condos. Let me see once.
No, you can't restrict a condo.
But I thought
Condo is
condos are-
ownership, you can't restrict ownership.
A residential condo.
Yeah, I thought that was prohibited.
You know, it's so weird. I'm used to looking at this online, so when I'm trying to find it in the book, it's a little harder. It's just bear with me. Well, I don't think there's a lot of opportunity to do anything like that downtown area anyway. With the village owning the park and Marina Park and the beach and everything, and then some of the established businesses, those lots are pretty small to put up anything big. Like a 3-story condo.
What of the Casperson property?
I would imagine the Casperson property will be 3 stories. Whatever that,
Probably.
Whenever
because
they're
they have water
re-
too then.
ready and decide on.
Well, it can go down the record that I don't like it. That's all.
Anytime you have a change of use that requires site plan and is supposed to trigger architectural review. Anytime you have new developments. It triggers it. And then, of course, if you're in area, the residential development outside of the subdivision required or triggers it.
Wouldn't they all require anything that requires a development agreement? You can add that and that would cover most everything.
Yeah.
So that could,
So it's a moratorium on anything that would require a development agreement. Accepting applications for any project that would need the approval of a development agreement.
Now, you were wondering about permitted uses in the B3?
Yeah. Okay, are you confident with that then, Julie?
Yep, I feel good about that.
Okay, so what do you want it to say then? I'm sorry. Moratorium on any application that would require site plan or
No,
architectural
this development agreement.
on any project that would require a development agreement.
On any application that would require a development agreement.
And just so you guys know, this is what that means. All new, so this is what requires that development agreement. All new construction other than individual single family homes which are not part of an active subdivision, like Mr. Roffers. All projects that require conditional use permit and commercial projects in existing buildings involving a change of use or occupancy where the building is non-conforming for setback height or parking.
Yeah. Right. I heard the wheels.
Yeah, they're they're good. They didn't fall off. They didn't, I started second my second.
I
started second
saw
myself
that.
When it says all new construction other than individual, I'm like, wait a minute, but no, it's so all new construction basically is gonna trigger that. Unless you're in a subdivision. Anything requiring a CUP is gonna trigger it. And then anything that's a change of use or occupancy. That covers.
Did we?
You made a motion, but nobody seconded it.
I'll second it.
I did? Oh. Okay, motion by Berto, second by her. All those in favor respond with an eye. Opposed, carried.
And that's for a public hearing too.
Yep,
Okay.
unpermitted work.
So I just had a question on the. We look at these SCRs and a lot of them are coming in. If, you know, if somebody was to come in fresh, let's say it's not an SCR. and they wanted to get a permit to do something, we would approve it. So my thought is, can we have a policy where with these bedrooms like we had tonight, if they meet code, staff just approve them and not have to come before the planning commission?
What happens if you have somebody argue with you? Then send it to plan.
We do have a part in the code that says I can defer to the planning commission. Because mine would be, as long as there's the 4 or fewer, as long as they meet code.
As long as
We
they're
don't
being
care.
assessed.
And getting them that permit would make sure they are assessed.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
have
it
a
saves our time. Julie
Yeah,
doesn't
I
have to
agree.
write a
Yeah.
report for
Right.
Yeah. The time.
the things that, you know, and if obviously she's uncomfortable or doesn't feel like she wants to
If it's something
permit.
I would want a second set of eyes on, I would defer it to the planning
Yeah.
commission. I have that right.
Yeah, because I don't want you getting beaten up.
Yeah. But it's, because some of these I do feel kind of bad. I mean, when it clearly can meet code, why are they coming here?
Yeah.
So,
I have no problem with that. I think that's what, I mean. If everything is all right with you, why bring it to us?
I agree.
Should these things be slowing down the road?
They should, because so our deadline to apply for applications is passed. And then there's a box of latecomers, you know, first of all, there's a couple that I haven't gotten to process yet. But then there's others that just never bothered to apply. So we have to hunt them down and say, where's your license, you know, try and get them in there, but for the most part, they're covered, for the most part, I would say, yeah.
And when you say staff on here, do you mean you?
Me, or whoever replaces me, you know.
For the day, I mean.
You can take that a couple ways.
Yeah,
But it's, yeah, who's ever assigned to reviewing those or processing things. Right now, that's me.
So do you want this to be a motion that we're making this policy
No, I
decision?
think just consensus that that's how they're gonna be treated moving forward. It already says in the code that I process the applications and stuff. But then when we adopted chapter 18, we made it very clear, hey, if they don't, it has to be permitted, so. And the only way to get exceptions on 18 was to come before the plan commission, so. It was just kind of a gray area in the code, 'cause if you're looking for a 5th bedroom, you come to the plan commission. It says you can only have permitted bedrooms, period. Or unpermitted bedrooms could not be used or something like that. And oh, by the way, if you want a 5th bedroom, you have to get approval from the plan commission. If you want extra parking, you go to the plan commission. So it gave the plan commission all these exception abilities. But it didn't make sense where you just deny somebody a bedroom if really they could get a permit for it. Right? I mean, if they were non-LCR, you'd do it, so. I think as long as we just, by consensus agree, that's the policy of how they're gonna be handled moving forward, I think we're good.
Okay.
It's kind of like we do with the signs, we all just agree Denise is the one who's gonna approve the design on this.
So I have a question. If somebody buys a house this summer and they want to immediately flip it into an STR, can they not get a license because they're past the deadline?
They can. They would have to come in, they'd have to apply and meet all the code. And we do have those that come in, don't quote me on it, maybe not quite 10, maybe you'll get in the fall.
Okay.
Where they're quick trying to get licensed, people buying them.
Okay.
Okay, let's go home, people.
Oh,
I move we adjourn.
Second it.
Motion by Kane, a second by her. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.